Children, let's proceed with the next topic, reaction of metals with water. Metals react with water to produce metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. Some metals which are water soluble, they form hydroxides. Okay, metal oxide plus water will form metal hydroxides. Metals like potassium and sodium react vigorously with water. Potassium in its solid state, when reacts with water, it will form potassium hydroxide, which is aqueous, plus hydrogen gas plus heat. When I balance the equation, I have 2K plus 2H2O, and it will give rise to 2KOH plus hydrogen gas and heat. Children, in this type of reaction, a large amount of heat is produced. It is an exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction. I hope you remember what is exothermic reaction, in which large amount of heat is produced. The amount of heat which is produced, it ignites the hydrogen gas which is produced and it starts burning. This happens with sodium also. In case of sodium, similar equation, 2Na in solid state plus 2H2O, which is in liquid state, here also in liquid state, it will give rise to 2NaOH, which is aqueous state, plus hydrogen gas plus heat. This is also an exothermic reaction. Sodium and potassium, they react with cold water. They react with cold water and the reaction is very vigorous. Heat is produced, due to which the hydrogen gas catches fire and this starts burning. Then let's see calcium and magnesium. Calcium and magnesium, they do not react with cold water. In case of calcium, what happens when calcium reacts with, calcium in solid form, when reacts with water, it will form calcium hydroxide, which is aqueous plus hydrogen gas. Calcium when reacts with water forms calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. In this case, what happens, children? This hydrogen gas which is produced sticks to the metal. Okay, which metal here? Calcium. So, calcium starts floating. Calcium starts floating because the bubbles of hydrogen, here hydrogen gas forms bubbles and they stick to the surface of the metal. Stick to the surface of metal. Okay, so what happens? Calcium starts floating as hydrogen gas, when sticks to this, makes it lighter. Okay. Similarly, this happens with magnesium also, but in hot water. Magnesium in its solid form, what happens? It reacts with water to form magnesium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Magnesium, when reacts with water, gives magnesium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. But this reaction is done in hot water. In cold water, it hardly reacts, but it reacts with hot water. And same thing happens with magnesium also. The hydrogen gas, which is liberated, what happens? It sticks to the metal, and the metals start floating on the surface, as in case of calcium. Okay, calcium can do with normal water, but magnesium only works with or only reacts with hot water. Now let us go for other metals, how they react with water. We have known other metals like aluminium, iron, zinc. These metals only react with steam. Neither with cold water nor with warm water or hot water, it only reacts with steam. What happens? They form metal oxides. With steam, they form metal oxides and hydrogen. For example, aluminium in its solid form plus, this is the total balanced equation. It gives aluminium oxide plus hydrogen gas. If we balance the equation, 2Al plus 3S2O will give rise to Al2O3 plus 3S2. Okay. Similarly, for iron, Fe in its solid form plus here 4H2O will give rise to Fe3O4 plus 4H2 gas. What is Fe3O4? Ferric tetraoxide or triferric tetraoxide. What do we call it? Ferric tetraoxide, or tetra means 4, triferric tetraoxide. This also we can say. Here aluminium, iron, they form oxides of aluminium, oxides of iron along with liberation of hydrogen gas. Now the next is, there are certain metals like gold. This is gold, this is silver, and this is lead. They do not react with water in any form, neither cold water, hot water or steam. Okay. Gold Au, silver Ag, and lead. Let me add one more thing, children. For vigorous reaction, potassium, sodium, and you can add lithium also. This also reacts vigorously with water. Here copper also. Gold, silver, lead and copper. They do not react with water in any form. What happens when metals reacts with acids? When metals reacts with acid, what will happen? Suppose you have metal. Suppose we take the case of aluminium. Aluminium, when reacts with sulfuric acid, okay, it will give metals when reacts with acids will give hydrogen gas. Okay, hydrogen gas is liberated. When we balance the equation, 2Al plus 3s2so4 will give rise to Al2SO4 whole thrice aluminium sulfate plus hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is liberated here. Similarly, sodium when reacts with acetic acid, CS3COOH. This is acetic acid, it's an organic acid. It will give CS3COONA. This is known as sodium acetate plus hydrogen gas is liberated. If I take the case of, similarly, magnesium can also react with acetic acid. It will give magnesium acetate plus hydrogen gas. Okay, and this is magnesium acetate. Suppose I take metal zinc. Zinc when reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid, it will form zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas is formed. In all the cases we are seeing that when metals react with acids, it may be hydrochloric acid, it may be sulfuric acid, it may be organic acid like acetic acid, hydrogen gas is liberated in every case. But there is an exception. When metals in general reacts with nitric acid, that is HNO3, hydrogen gas is not liberated. This is important, children. Why this happens? When metals in general react with nitric acid, hydrogen gas is not liberated. This is because HNO3, nitric acid, is an highly oxidizing agent. Okay, the hydrogen gas which is liberated gets oxidized to water, and HNO3 being highly oxidizing agent, here what happens, hydrogen gas gets reduced to water and NO3, the hydrogen gas which is produced gets oxidized to water and NO3 gets reduced to N2O or NO, nitrogen oxide or nitrous oxide. But magnesium and manganese, but important, but magnesium and manganese, Mn, they react with dilute HNO3. Children, science means experimentation. There are always ifs and buts for this, and there are also exceptions. Like in the first case, generally all metals react with other acids and give hydrogen gas, whereas they do not react with HNO3 to give hydrogen gas. We have seen the example. But for this also there is an exception, like magnesium and manganese. They react with dilute HNO3. Okay. So, one more exception is there, children. Copper does not react with dilute HCl. Okay. Certain exceptions are Generally, metals do not react with HNO3. But just in recapitulation. But magnesium and manganese reacts with HNO3. Okay. Generally, all metals react with dilute sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, but copper does not react with dilute HCl. What is aqua regia? Gold and silver, they do not react with other acids, but gold and silver, they react with aqua regia. What is aqua regia? Aqua regia is 3 parts of hydrochloric acid plus 1 part of nitric acid. This is a very strong acid which can dissolve gold and silver. These are few things which are to be remembered by you all children. Okay, this is all for today.